welcome to the newest episode of BlizzPlanet.com's StarCraft Summary. Now, as always, I'm your host, the Bearded Gamer, Chris Arnone. Now, I'd like to talk about last week's question, but only one of you actually answered or threw down a comment. So, you lazy bastards, go watch that video and look at the one comment and be a lesson to you. That's the best comment ever! I don't even know what it is, but at least one person answered, all right? So please throw down some comments, answer our questions. We love that kind of stuff, and of course, we'll feature the best answers on next week's show. In the meantime, let's get in that weekly news roundup.
You want a piece of me, boy?
All right, so there's a new patch inbound for that Heart of the Swarm beta that many of you are now playing and just eating up greedily because it's so awesome, right? Right. So there's something a little bit different coming for the unit structures for both Terran and Protoss. So Dustin Browder, lead designer, said that, we'll start with Terran, okay? The Warhound has been stepping on the Marauder way too much, so therefore the Warhound, it's gone, all right? Never coming back. The Terran already has some great new mech options coming with the Widowmine and the Battle Hellion, so they just feel like it's a little too much. Plus, some players have been saying that the Warhound is just too powerful and it's dominating. I mean, people don't have a comeback for the Warhound against the Terrans. So other things going on, all right? Reapers are now allowed to see up cliffs with a passive ability called Combat Awareness. Battle Hellions are now getting built from the factory, and they have an armory requirement, so that's moving them a little further down the tech tree for when you can build them. Now let's talk Protoss. The carrier is back. I know, everybody was gonna, they didn't know if they would, they didn't know if they weren't. It was all up in the air. But yes, it is back, all right? Now, Prouder said it just didn't make sense to get rid of only one unit from Wings of Liberty going into Heart of the Swarm. So they are indeed bringing the carrier back into the game. The Tempest is also getting some changes, all right? So first off, the attack range is reduced from 22 to 15. They're also getting rid of that range upgrade that it would get, and the basic damage is increasing from 30 to 30 plus massive, all right? So, now what this does, it's actually a pretty big change. It changes the Tempest from sort of an all-around sniper to a much shorter range but very powerful counter to some of those, big bad units that the opponents get with things like Thors and Ultralisks. So it's actually a pretty significant change right there. Changes also to the Oracle, removing the Preordain ability, and it's adding a new area of effect ability called Phase Shield. Now what this does is it targets your friendly units and gives them a shield from harmful effects for 5 seconds. Now, not much going on with the Zerg. Like we said, this was a lot about the Terran and the Protoss. Just some little minor nerf with the Swarm Host Locust attack decreasing from 3 to 2. So very little going on that end. Just mostly with the Terran and the Protoss. So some big stuff there. Now, new patch 1.5.3 has been released for StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty. Not talking the beta now, okay? Main game. Now, this is mainly just bug fixing and UI changing patch. Not much other than some changes that we talked about a few weeks ago that were coming down the pipe, such as Blizzard's testing, changes to make the Zerg creep spread, tweaking that, making sure that that's a balanced effect. We've seen that, kind of used to great effect by Zerg players in tournaments. So they're, tweaking that to make sure it's balanced correctly. Terran's Reapers did not make it into this patch, so if you were looking for those, they're just not there. And it looks as if Blizzard has decided against making those changes, possibly permanently, maybe not just for this patch, but we just may not see them at all. So now this week is a little light on the eSports news. There wasn't a terrible amount that went down, but there was one really, really good tournament. So the WCS European Finals are already being applauded as one of the best StarCraft tournaments of all time. There were over 100,000 people live streaming this event at one time at various points throughout the competition. The casters and hosts were all fantastic, did a great job, and had some really great stories coming out of this. Now, Eldorian's favorite story from this one was two brothers from Spain, named Vortex and Lucifron, who made it all the way to the end and ended up taking second and third place. A couple brothers, which is really cool. So they're both going to be going to the global finals in Shanghai. Now, the newest member of Team Evil Geniuses that we've talked about, Stefano, played through his first day, all right? 5 hours of sleep in a 40-hour period because of all kinds of crazy travel problems he ran into, yet he lost one game his entire first day. 5 hours of sleep in a 40-hour period and just blew through that first day. Just killed it. And now in the Grand Finals, he went up against Vortex. Like we said, Vortex and Lucifron took second and third. So Vortex was in the Grand Finals with him, all right? Went 2-1 in their first round, but in their first best of 3. But because he had already beaten Vortex in the winner's bracket, Vortex had gotten knocked back down, had to come back up, they had to play a second best of 3 match in which Stefano won 2-0. So took that crown as the best player in the WCS in Europe, hands down. I think he absolutely proved it right there. It's just dominating win with very little sleep. Just incredible. And hey, Evil Genius's curse? What? What are you talking about? I don't know about that. So now he's already guaranteed, a lot of people there were already guaranteed spots in the Grand Finals in Shanghai, such as Lowly, Baby Knight, Grubby, Nurchio, Stefano, obviously, Sock, and Titan. Now Vortex and Lucifron are joining them in that. Now Stefano's win means something else too. He has now made more money than any other foreigner playing StarCraft 2, period. Of course, by foreigner, reiterate what we mean are non-Korean players. It's still a sport very much dominated by the Korean players. So, took home $24,000 from the WCS European Finals. That makes his total WCS winnings $30,000. Speaking of winnings and money, we got a little information about that WCS Grand Finals. The total prize pool is $250,000, $250,000, and the grand final winner will take home $100,000. All right, it's crazy. Now the rest of the prize distribution hasn't been highlighted yet, but we do know that much so far. So let's get into our question. With changes to the units in this last patch for Heart of the Swarm, we want to know your thoughts. What do you think of them removing the Warhound? Do you think maybe the Tempest needed the change that they brought to it? Was it just way too long? But how do you think that changes the balance for Protoss? And are you glad the carrier's back? Let us know in the comments, all right? Throw your best comments down, pretty please, all right? Put them there, and we will highlight the best ones on next week's show. And of course, while you're on YouTube, why don't you check out the Bearded Gamer Show? All kinds of awesome video game stuff, beard stuff, lots of Wii U news going on right now. Then head over to blizzplanet.com. All the news, reviews, fantastic community, everything you need to know about Blizzard Entertainment games. See you next time.